All right, guys. League drama time. Drama alert. Don't we love good old drama? Drama Tuesdays. Actually, it's Drama Tuesday every day. All right, so on my co-stream last time on Dragon Ball Z, I had Jensen and Ellis as my co-stream, partners for Sunday. I'll just play the clip. We can let it speak for itself.
Dude, that reminds me when Gwen first came out, right? She was like super OP.
Yeah.
And I had Alphari as top laner, and I think Jad or someone was telling him that he should work on his champ pool and play more champs, and he's basically like he doesn't need to, doesn't matter. Like he has counter picks, it's fine.
Oh my
He has his own
god.
picks.
I hate that mentality so much, man. I hate that mentality so much. It's like definitely an ego thing where people are afraid to say yeah, I'm just not good at the champ. Like I remember when fucking Senna came in, I'm like, guys, I'm just not good at this champ. Like I'm just terrible at it. But I know that's good. I just suck at it.
Yep.
So it's gonna take me a long ass time. Like I hate when people say yeah, I don't ever need to learn this shit. Cause it's not good, or it doesn't matter that I don't know how to play it. It's such a bad attitude. I don't think what Jensen said is really that. It's really not that much, guys. I think all he's saying is he's recounting a story. We're talking about Ornn, we're talking about Summit, and how he kind of the context of this is we're talking about how Summit's champ pool is just horrible. He refuses to play Ornn. He doesn't play any tanks, and he usually plays shit into tanks. And we're theory crafting, the thoughts that might go into that. Is Summit is he not good at tanks? Does he refuse to play tanks because that's just he just prefers to never play tanks? Either way, there's a stubbornness element to it where obviously C9 is getting screwed over because their top laner is amazingly good at the game, but just is fucked over on champs. The flame here is that Alphari has a similar attitude, right? That's a negativity. I don't think it's that egregious. And I feel like if you listen to this again, or I'll just look at Alphari's response on Twitter, right? His response on Twitter today, he read the clip, or he saw the clip, and he said, looking at this Reddit clip in comments, you'd think Jensen was Jat's biggest fan and wasn't actively pushing for him to get kicked. Quite sure he never had any issues with champs either. Retroactively paraphrasing makes for great content, though. Jensen never said anything positive about Jat. Let's just play the clip again. It doesn't really make any sense that Alphari would say this.
Yeah.
And I had Alphari as top laner, and I think Jad or someone was telling him that he should work.
He's telling a story. He's thinking about what happened. He's like, yeah, Alphari's my top laner. He's setting the stage. Oh, I think Jad or someone said blah blah blah. I don't think that at any point during our entire co-stream that I get the feeling that Jensen was Jat's fan. He's telling a story. It's not like this. He's not biased against Alphari or for Jat in this war between Alphari and Jat, who hated each other on TL. And then the second part of his tweet, which also makes so the first part of his tweet is absolutely idiotic, right? He's basically outing Jensen yeah, Jensen was actively pushing for Jat to get kicked. He's saying that Jensen hated Jat or didn't want him to be on the team anymore and was part of the reason why Jat got let go. And so it's does that invalidate what Jat was trying to do, which was get him to play Gwen? I don't think so. I think you can get removed. I think anybody in the entire world, right? You can get fired from your job, but you can still have some good elements to what you're saying. Not everything about a person who gets benched or gets replaced is oh, that person just couldn't come up with a single good idea. He's really stretching here. And then the second part where he never had issues with the champs, that's not what he's saying. That's not what he's saying. We're talking about top laners with champion pool issues. Of course, Jensen and every single person, I came into this conversation, I said I had champion pool issues, right? But it's about the attitude. It's about the attitude. It's not about the whether or not you can play the champ. I was explaining afterwards that if you say, I don't need to learn this champ because it's shit, when it's obviously good, that's a totally different thing than having issues playing a champ. I had issues playing champs, right? When mages were meta, I had issues playing mages. When Senna was meta, I had issues playing Senna. But I also know that it was my job to improve. And so I did. Specifically on Senna, because I started off my fucking split 0-4, and then I ended up winning LCS with Senna. So having issues with champions happens to every player in the entire world. Unless you're... Even Faker, I'm guessing. Straight up, even Faker will have champions with... or that he's not that comfortable with. Retroactively paraphrasing makes for great content. I mean, it's ironic that he would say this because this is a clip that made it to the front page of Reddit, and it's like, you guys already know that we're talking about shit for hours at a time. If you take a minute of our conversation where we're talking about a single person, it looks like our whole stream was just shitting on that person. Like, like we're talking about so many different things. So yeah, I think that this whole tweet is pretty cringe. He's obviously just hurt, right? He's really hurt. Baker was bad at his year. Yeah, I mean, there you go, right? Every player has champion issues. I think Alphari's really, like, his arguments are so weak. I think this is a bit of straw man, you know, a bit of just like attacking the guy who said these things about him. Like, yeah, fuck you, you're ugly, bro. And yeah, we're gonna talk about real issues. We're gonna bring up real examples of real issues. To basically, the whole point of the code stream is to give you guys more insight about what it's like to be a pro player. You know, I like the point of, we're watching a game and Summit is an amazing player. Everyone knows that, right? And Summit's champion pool is dog shit. So how can we make it look like Summit's not? Like, how can we explain all of the different ways that could happen? Well, we could theory craft about, you know, all the metaphors and all of the like figures of speech and all of the just like abstract, or we can bring up real examples. I think bring up real examples is probably like one of the easier ways, right? Like whether it's former teammates, current teammates. None of us are playing at that time, but like, you know, for me and Jensen, it'll be former teammates, past experiences. It will be like real examples, and then you guys can, you know, hopefully learn a little bit and empathize with like what we're talking about. Let's see what the comments are like. So Alphari was apparently really upset with the comments. Yeah, I'm gonna go out on a limb and defend Jensen here. He did in a way talk smack about Alphari. If Alphari came out and said like, yo, yeah, that shit was real bad, like, I learned, I improved, I'm not that player anymore, I'm not the kind of guy who would do that. Or maybe another way that he could take the tweet is, that's just wrong, you know, that didn't happen. But he didn't take either of those, right? Like he didn't say that what Jensen said was wrong, which makes me feel like what Jensen said was right. Like that actually did happen, right? As a historical event that actually happened, because otherwise, you know, if you're upset, it was like, what the fuck? This guy's just lying about me. And then you type up an angry storm like, oh my God, that's not what happened at all. He didn't say that. All he did was attack Jensen, which just makes me feel like he's just really upset that someone would bring up a mistake that he made in the past. You'd think if a player could say such thing to his team, he'd be okay with banning bench in favor for replacement who invests his time to learn his champ. Another backup strat. The way Jensen said the thing about counter picks makes it seem like Alphari was straight up arrogant and will just counter it when time comes. I wasn't following esports specifically in 2018, but I heard Reckless benched himself to wait out some metas. If you know you won't be up to the task, also know your team will greatly benefit from that specific task, why don't you swallow your pride and ask for help, let someone else do it? I mean, yeah, they're just dogpiling, right? Like, this is something that happened in 2020. Or wait, no, this is something that happened last year. I'm an idiot. It's 2021. 2020, TL still had impact on it. Just dogpiling him, basically. That must feel pretty bad for Alphari. If I had a nickel for every time a top-tier NA team had to fire their coach mid-season despite good performance because their MVP and star import top laner won't bother to learning obvious meta-relevant champions, only to get ego checked by someday and ran out of the playoffs, I'd have 2 nickels. Which isn't a lot, but it's weird it happened twice. Okay, so he's referencing C9 with Summit and how they benched LS, and then he got ego checked by Someday, and then the same shit happened with Alphari. Jat as a coach died for this guy who wouldn't bother to play a good champion. Lol. Good. I love Jat as a casual stand. I mean, I know a little bit more behind the scenes about Jat as a coach for TL, and I just want to say that, like, I think that the way that, like, maybe the way that all that shit went down wasn't like it wasn't the cleanest way that they could have gotten a replacement for their coach. But I don't think in any way that Jat was very good for TL as their coach. He just wasn't a good fit, and I don't think he was doing a good job, and the team was really struggling under his leadership. So I don't really super agree with this. That, oh my God, he died just because Alphari fucked him up. Like, this is such a useless comment, and people are obviously fans of Jad and they like him as a caster analyst. He's a great caster, he's a great analyst. I just don't think that just because you're good at one thing means you're going to be good at everything in that category. Like, just because Jad is a good caster and analyst doesn't mean that he would also make an excellent coach. So yeah, I don't know. I don't know about this one. Alphari's response. I like how the response doesn't even try to deny the allegation. His response was basically, yeah, well, your champ pool sucks too, lol. Dude, it's so immature. Holy shit. You'd think that Alphari would realize he's the one person holding himself back from greatness by seeing the clip. Nope. Instead, he resorts to pettily insulting the guy who carried his less than useless dog water ass that served as a literal black hole of gold at Worlds. Stay dog shit, you spoiled fuck. Damn, TL fans are seriously, they're getting more aggressive. Spring playoffs finals, like die less to ganks and you would be a champion. Yeah. Look, guys, I've only really watched like a handful of Alphari series, best of fives. I watched this games on Team Liquid. He ran it down in the finals against Fudge. He ran it down in the finals against Fudge in spring, and he got first blooded 5 games in a row. And that was extremely embarrassing to watch somebody literally die before 3 minutes 5 games in a row. And then I also watched his latest LEC playoffs, and I think Alphari is a great player, but he got completely turbo omega fisted by BB. Thinking back on these games, just feel like it's not a good time to talk. It's not a good time. He is the top father, true. From a purely professional standpoint, if your boss tells you to learn something relevant to your job, you do it because you're getting paid to do so. This is weird. Okay, I think the next comment might actually be a good follow-up to this. I agree with you. The weird thing here is that coaches aren't really bosses in the same way. They aren't in charge of your paycheck, and you make wildly more than them, which certainly suggests they're more important to the org than you. Do I think that's a fucking wild approach to a competitive sport? Yeah, 100%, but that is how the system currently is set up. Yeah, I mean, the truth is, guys, that between Core JJ, Santorin, Bjergsen, Whippo, and Hansama, any of those players and their head coach, Gilhoto, who's more replaceable, guys? Who's more replaceable? Obviously the coach, okay? The coach is way less valuable than any of the single individual players on the team. If you think that it should be the other way around, League just isn't as developed as, I guess, traditional sports are in that same way. And I'm sure this happens in traditional sports too, once in a while, where like a player is way more valuable than a coach. Honestly, the coach is not your boss. Yeah, that's number one. The coach is not your boss. The coach is supposed to be an authority figure. And definitely has a lot of power over the players. A coach in a team, like a lot of times, it's not just this top-down hierarchy, okay? The coach works with the players as a figure of respect and authority to, like, you earn the respect of your team first. After earning the respect of the team, you kind of will have like more leverage after proving yourself that you're capable. But I think a lot of people are hesitant in esports because a lot of coaches aren't really good at the game. And who's going to know more about the game? The guy who's grinding it 10 hours a day, 12 hours a day, and plays at the highest possible level, at a professional level, or the guy who watches? Let's be real here, guys. The players are almost always better and more knowledgeable about the game than the coach. In fact, almost every single team I've been on, me and a handful of other players on the team are constantly teaching the coach. And the coach teaches us stuff back, but really the coach's main job is to like mediate the discussions. It's to do the scheduling so that we make sure that we have time set out throughout the day and space throughout the day to like do important various things like draft meetings, team meetings, VOD reviews, discussions, team exercises, team bonding. Those kinds of things it falls on the responsibility of the coach. And like mediating that stuff is on the coach. So yeah, I've certainly like almost, I'm just going to say straight up, I don't think I've ever worked with a coach who was more knowledgeable about the game than I was. And I think that's true for like almost every single player who is really smart about the game. There is coaches like Bjergsen who's going to be smarter about the game than every one of his players. That's true. But I don't think most coaches are Bjergsen or Mithy or Reapered. I don't even think Kane would say that he was like smarter at the game than most of the players, but I think he was just really sharp. Yeah, Kane was really knowledgeable. I recall Jensen's answer to the whole Jat drama was laughing and saying people had absolutely no clue right as the Circle Jerk was white knighting Alphari because TL released the exact type of PR statement and any org would about Alphari's benching. Meanwhile, Thorne was making up conspiracy theories about Santorin's migrants being fake and made a near 30-minute video of insider information that characterized Jad as a narcissistic bully who is spiting Alphari by giving GP and about whom all of TL players expressed grievances about. Cut to 2022. I'm surprised more TL players haven't spoken up about the situation. I know Jad and Tactical are still cool because Tactical reached out to Jad during this spring split. I think it's really in the players' best interest these days to stay out of drama. LCS, despite like being a weaker major region or like the weakest major region, I'll just say it honestly, it's still in your best, it's still really competitive. So it's in your best interest to burn as few bridges as possible. You don't want to slowly, over time, reduce the number of teams that you can get a job at. At the end of the day, for most pro players out there, they don't have another plan after they're done playing pro. Playing pro is the only job that they can do. They can't really coach because they don't have like the foundation. They don't have the knowledge or like the temperament for coaching. So the only thing that they can do is play. And so like let's say the beef goes on between two really big figures in the community, right? Jat and Alphari. And I think like one of the best things that you can do, whether or not that person is wrong, whether or not there's like a very clearly wrong side. Let's just say fucking Alphari, like, or we're dogpilling Alphari. Let's just say like Jat fucking swung at Alphari, you know, he just fuck boom, fucking knocked him out cold, okay? And like that happened. Let's pretend. And you know that Jat is in the wrong. You know, realistically, that's not really your job to go out and talk about it. It's kind of the org's job. So you're just say, fuck this shit. You know, I'm not going to say anything because I don't want any of the fans of this person. I don't want to, you know, any sort of drama, be in any sort of situation that makes me look like I'm at odds with this person. Because, you know, what if in the future, Jat's the fucking head coach of C9 and C9 is looking for an 80 carry and you're tactical, you're like, damn it, dude, I told the world that Jats took a swing at Alphari. It's like you don't want that reputation. You don't want to be involved. It doesn't benefit you in any way, and so it's just best to just stay quiet and say nothing. So when people are saying, you know, they're surprised tail players don't speak about the situation, it's just like I would know this from firsthand experience, right? Like talking openly about really anything, almost 95% of the time, it's just gonna get you in trouble. It's just gonna get you in bad situations, and like even though you feel like I feel like I like talking about like openly about random things. But like, you know, people are gonna get offended. Look at what happened. Jensen talks about Alphari, some shit that happened last year, and then Alphari's like, yeah, fuck you, Jensen. Now I'm gonna drag your name through the dirt. And it's like, well, this is actually kind of bad for Jensen, right? Like this drama honestly is kind of bad for Jensen. I honestly I don't really think Jensen gives a fuck because he's kind of a Chad like that. But like, if he really wanted to increase his chances of finding a team next split, he would have kept his mouth zipped that whole time. Right now, Jensen does look fine, and Alphari looks like a whiny fuck. You're right. You're totally right. Again, it's just another example about how talking about like any of these things and getting involved in the drama, it's not going to be positive. It's only neutral or negative. Now Alphari kind of does look like a little baby, a little insecure baby. I don't think Jensen's intent was malicious either. That's a great point. Jensen didn't want to. The point of Jensen, what Jensen was saying was, he was using an example of someone who's really not even involved in LCS anymore, okay? And we're talking mostly to an NA LCS audience here, and it sucks that this like drama shit got clipped, put up on Reddit for a minute, 574 comments, front page, you know, all day. Everyone's going to be watching this clip and eating popcorn. It's really overblown, and I don't think what he said was malicious at all. And I think Alphari, if he wasn't so insecure about it and wasn't being such a little baby, would know that and be and just, dude, hold this L, bro. Just hold this fucking L. I'm gonna give Jensen +1 Chad points for this one.